This video is going to cover the topic of more sample spaces for compound events. Be sure the date and topic are at the top of your page. The essential question for this video, which should also be at the top of your page, is in addition to tree diagrams and tables, how else can we show the outcomes of compound events? We're going to start with a few reminders and clarifications. The first is about the term compound events. And remember that that means we're trying to find the probability of two or more events happening at the same time. This could be something like spinning a spinner and rolling a number cube at the same time. So maybe we're looking to see if we can spin red and roll the number 4 in that case. A second reminder is the term sample space itself. So remember that a sample space is just the list or set of possible outcomes. For example, on a number cube, we could list all of the possible things that could happen if we roll it. And of course, the sample space for a typical number cube would just be the numbers 1 through 6. However, when we want to find the sample space of compound events, we need to have some sort of strategy, and we've looked at a couple already. So far, we've looked at tree diagrams. We've also talked about making a table. In addition, we can also use something that looks like a matrix. Before we talk about the new item, the matrix, let's just do a quick refresh of what it would look like to do a tree diagram. So let's say we wanted to see all the combinations we could have with various cake flavors and ice cream flavors. This is just a quick refresh. I'll draw this out, and you can go ahead and draw it before you see mine, and then we'll just make sure we both have a copy of this in our notes. So here we have a list at the end of my tree of all the possible combinations I could make with my 3 different cake flavors and my 2 different ice cream flavors, right? So that should be just a little reminder of how a tree diagram would look like and how that could help us produce our sample space. With the exact same set of events, we could actually also make a table, right? So I'm still going to work with my cake flavors and ice cream flavors, but this time I'm going to draw a table, and I'd like you to have the same example in your spiral. And I'm starting my table with chocolate, so I've paired chocolate with chocolate and chocolate with vanilla, and then I'm going to go on to the next type of cake, do the same thing, and then do the same thing with the last type as well. And of course, by the end of my table, I can see all the possible combinations: chocolate chocolate, chocolate vanilla, vanilla chocolate, vanilla vanilla, strawberry chocolate, and strawberry vanilla, right? So the same results, but in a different format. The last way to find your sample space, or to show your sample space, is what I'm calling the matrix, and this is one that's new. The other 2 should have been review. And this is similar, right? They're all kind of similar in their final results, of course, but I just want to show you this one more strategy, and we'll use the same cake and ice cream flavors for this as well. With our matrix, it's set up more kind of like a multiplication chart, right? And on one side of my chart, I have my cake flavors, that's these right here, right? My cake flavors. And then I have my ice cream flavors going along the other direction. And then I just kind of combine, or it looks like kind of how we would multiply our numbers together, right? So our first one, in our first space, we could have a chocolate by chocolate. So that's what I would put in that section. The section beside it, of course, would be the chocolate vanilla combination, followed by a vanilla chocolate combination, and then of course a vanilla vanilla combination. And lastly, we have our strawberry chocolate and strawberry vanilla pairing. This is yet a third way that you could develop your sample space for a compound event. All 3 of these work: the tree diagram, the table, this matrix. They all work, and you should expect to need to be able to read and interpret all forms of these sample spaces. Of course, when you're working and trying to create a sample space for a compound event, you're welcome to use whichever format works best for you in the event you are examining. And remember, the essential question of this video was what sample spaces we can use to show the outcomes of compound events. And we've added, in addition to tree diagrams and tables, we've also added the matrix. Be sure to have your notes and questions ready for class tomorrow.